Hi, welcome to Time Valley Motorhomes. I'm Callum and this is a handover video of a Swift Escape 684. So when you arrive on your site or you're at home and you want to charge your leisure battery, to charge your leisure battery you'd have to use a mains hookup cable. So this is your mains connection. So this will give you 230-volt inside the vehicle. So get your cable, lift the collar, always hook the motorhome up first and then the site or the house, and do it in reverse order when unhooking, so that you're never walking around with a live lead in your hand. To fill with water, this is your water filler. So get yourself a hose pipe with some hose pipe connections, as on site it's mainly just a brass tap, so you need the screw on end to the tap, the hose lock end, and then you'd put the flat end of the hose into the vehicle. Using the habitation key, which has got the Swift badge on here, this is a lockable cap, so you can take it off, or if it just keeps spinning, you just need to put the key in, turn it, and you'll be able to remove the cap. But you can lock this in place once you've filled the water. However, if you can't get a hose to the vehicle and you can bring a bucket or a drum of water or an aqua roll, there is a 12-volt point here for a submersible pump. So this gives 12-volt power. You put the other end into the water filler and drop the pump into the water, and it'll suck the water out into the vehicle. And there's just a nice cover that goes over there. This is your dirty water. So this is one of the drains, which is electronically controlled via a switch inside the vehicle. So normally you would just drive over the grid, get rid of your dirty water on the way out of your site. So you drain that off and allow that to be fully empty when you're traveling, so that you don't add extra weight where you could use it for bits and pieces that you want to carry inside the motorhome, which is known as your payload, and it'll mean that you are heavier, which means you're going to use more diesel if you're driving around with dirty water. This is your cassette locker. So everything from the toilet goes into the cassette. To get the cassette out, you'd lift the orange handle and slide the cassette out of the vehicle. You can carry it, or you can wheel it to your disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block on site. And to empty the cassette, remove the grey cap from the spout, pop the grey cap to one side for a moment, press, as you start to pour, press the orange button. It allows a bit of air in, gives it a consistent flow and stops it glugging. You'll be able to pour the contents of the cassette out. Once you've done that, there's normally a tap there, so a bit of water in, a rinse, tip out again, before going in with a cap full of chemical. So this can be blue or green liquid, and this is a 120ml cap which goes into here, and then you're good to go to put the cassette back into the vehicle and charge it. 2 fridge vents, boiler flue, so this gives a location of where the boiler is situated on board the vehicle. This is your garage area, so this is your small door this side. You do have a garage door the other side, but you do have tethering points, carpets, awning winding handle, and spare wheel can be found in here, and a rafter bar for the awning. On the back of the vehicle, you do have a high level brake light, a reversing camera, parking sensors along the bottom, and a Thule 3-person bike rack. So what you need to do is you need to pull that down, put your bikes on, but always put them opposite ways, because if you put them all with the handlebars the same way, they'll not fit, so you'll need to alternate. You can adjust these by just pulling them along the rail, depending on how big the bike frame is. Pop your wheels in here on the chocks and tie the wheels down. First bar, crossbar, second bar, crossbar, and third bar, crossbar as you come away from the vehicle. It holds the top of the bike and keeps it nice and safe and secure. We do recommend putting a bike lock around the bikes once they're on the vehicle, just in case you did leave the van unattended at a service station or on your pitch when you go out for the day. Make sure your bikes are chained on the back so that they can't go missing. This is the large garage door I was talking about. So you can see how big your garage is on the 684. So large space. You've got lights here on both sides which will work when the control panel's turned on. LPG, so liquid petroleum gas, this is your gas locker, and on this vehicle it can take 2 bottles which are 6 kilogram. I've got my 6 kilogram propane bottle on to test your gas appliances now and show you them working. However, you would just need to get 2 6 propanes. Propane is orange, butane is blue. Butane will freeze in the winter as it's got a high freezing point, whereas propane doesn't. You can use that all year round, so always go for propane. Put your bottle in. You need to put this collar through the side of the bottle and tie the bottle down. So it's always good that you tie your bottles in. Then you've got a pipe which is known as the pigtail. The pigtail connects the gas cylinder to the vehicle. So it's left to tighten, right to loosen, so the opposite ways with it being gas. Hand tighten this one is a hand tighten type, so all you need to do is tighten until you can't tighten anymore. That's it on. Turn the cylinder on, 1 or 2 turns at the top valve. Great, if your gas is working brilliantly. If not, there is a small reset crash sensor here, which is this button where my finger is, just here, which is a little green button. Push that in for 10 seconds and it resets the gas crash valve. Turn your bottle off before you travel, which is always safer for you and other road users. If you plan on doing a bit of outdoor cooking on a Cadillac, this is your external gas point. So you've got a fitting here. So this is a fitting which goes in on the bottom. So what you'll need to do is, this end will fit into the van and clip in, push it to release. So that goes in the van. This end you want to get some rubber gas hose and a Jubilee clip and connect your hose to this end and connect the other end of the hose to the Cadillac. And then when you're ready to use it, just push it in, turn your gas supply on, which you can hear the gas coming out there because that's in. So that's using the main bottle on board instead of carrying a spare. And then when you're finished, you can either leave this on the end of your gas hose and just pack that away in the garage or the gas locker, or if you're taking it off completely, just put it on top in there so it's nice and safe and secure with the barbecue point. Awning, which is a Fiamma F80S awning, which we'll show you when we move the vehicle further out so we can get the awning out. Security handle, which is great if you're leaving the van in storage or parked up on the driveway. You can put it on and you can lock it, and it acts as another form of security so that they can't get the habitation door open. However, when you're traveling, it's always best that you don't have it in this position, because if you are trapped in the cab having sustained a crash, you want to be able to get out the van, and this door acts as your third door to get out, and especially for your back passengers as well. So when traveling, always have it pinned back like so and never across the door. The door is manual, so you've got to use the Swift habitation key to open the door. The diesel filler is on the passenger door, which opens with the main Fiat Ducato key. So it's a lockable diesel cap to fill with diesel fuel. Tyre pressures can be found here, which are 5.5 bar, which is 79.5 psi. On the passenger door you'll find these pressures. Underneath the passenger seat you have a toolkit in this. So this pulls off, this slides out, and in that casing you have a jack, a brace, a tow knife and a screwdriver. So everything that you need to change your wheel or be towed off a pitch or off the road if you're broken down. Underneath this compartment in the floor is where the engine battery lives. So there's no engine battery underneath the bonnet, it's underneath the floor. If you ever want to get to the battery, you've just got to lift this panel and you can get to the top of the battery, remove it, replenish it, charge it, take it off, whatever you want to do. That is your bonnet release. And underneath the bonnet, this side you've got your screen wash, which is directly underneath the driver's headlight. 3 tabs lift this cover off on the scuttle panel. You can fill your power steering fluid and your coolant, and then you do have your brake fluid, your oil filler, your oil dipstick there for checking the levels, paint code if you ever need any paint, earth, which is this one here for giving or receiving a jump start as the engine battery is in the carb floor. And this is your air filter, and next to your air filter you've got your positive jump start point, which is under here. So if you put your key there or a screwdriver, anything flat, and you want to put it in, lift it up, that is your positive for giving or receiving a jump start. You've also got your weight plate, which is on here, which is on an Alco chassis. So to operate your digital control panel, you turn on and off the panel by touching the Swift logo here. And then to get into the panel, you've got all these options. So starting off from left to right, so if you wanted to use water, you've got to ensure that the pump's on. So to turn the pump on, you just press it. You get the blue surround round the logo, and that's the pump on, and that'll operate your taps, toilet and shower. You need to make sure that you've got water on board, because if you turn the pump on with no water on board, you're going to burn the pump out. Next, you've got your awning light, which is a light on the outside of the vehicle. So if you're sitting underneath the awning, or you're going out for a walk and you're coming back when it's dark, you might want to put your awning light on and you can spot your van. Lights, so you can turn them on and off by pressing the centers, and then you can press and hold and you can dim them down here. So the lights are dimmable, but to just have them on, you just press 100% or off. Go back to the house, it'll take you back to the control panel menu. Power is where you'll find the levels of your leisure battery and your vehicle battery. So you can see there that 14.1 volts is what your leisure battery is currently being read at, but it is hooked up. As you can tell, we're on hookup here by the little hookup lead symbol. Take the hookup out to get a true reading of your batteries, and it tells you underneath the 6.1 amps currently coming off the battery. The solar panel does go to sleep when the vehicle is hooked up, and you do have your vehicle battery reading there as well. Selected battery here always wants to be the leisure battery. You can turn it to the vehicle battery and it'll start to charge the vehicle battery. You might want to charge it over the winter like this, just so that you don't get a flat battery. Swap it for a few days on the vehicle, a few days on the leisure, just to monitor both batteries. But when using the motorhome, you must have it on the leisure, because otherwise you are going to flatten the engine battery and you go to start the engine and it won't start. So that's what the leisure battery is designed for using on the motorhome side. Water, fresh water, 75% full and 0 waste. Should you be going away and it's really cold and it's going to freeze overnight, more so in the winter, you can turn your tank heaters on, which is this one here, and that'll stop the water from freezing in the tanks below. When the water levels get too low or the waste gets full, you can turn on level alerts, and that'll just start beeping to let you know that it's either empty the fresh or the waste's full and it's time to do something about it. Frost alerts will tell you when it's going to get frosty, so then you would either empty the water, or if you're using it, you turn the tank heaters on. And then to empty the water, you press empty fresh or empty waste. I'm not going to empty the fresh because we've got water on, but I'll show you how to do it with the waste. So you press empty waste, confirm it, you'll get this yellow circle that's flashing, which is telling you the valve's open and it's empty, and it'll do the same for the fresh. To stop it, stop draining waste, confirm, and that is that. Heating, you can do the heating through here if you want, but it's all through the Truma CP digital control panel, which I'm going to insert in the next clip on how to work that, which is just beside it. But you can adjust your air temperature there. Whether you've got the water on hot or off or eco. So eco is 40 degrees, hot 60 degrees, and obviously off when you've got no water on board. Energy source for the heating, so you've selected the room temperature. One electricity sign is 750 watts of electric. 2 electricity signs is 1500 watts of mains electric. Gas symbol on its own is gas from your bottle. when you're wild camping, as you wouldn't be hooked up. And then you've got gas plus 1 electricity sign, which is 750 watts, which is known as mix 1. Or you've got mix 2, which is 2 electricity signs, 1500 watts of electric and gas together. But I'll go through this in a moment, so I'll insert a clip of this next on how to operate. Settings, you can change your date and your time and things on there. And then to turn it off, like I said, press the Swift Bird logo and that'll turn the 12 volt system completely off by turning the panel off. So to operate your digital Truma CP control panel, to turn the system on and off, you'd press and hold to turn it off, press it once to turn it on and it'll come on, and then to get into the menu you just press it once. You'll notice you've got a thermometer in a van flashing at the top corner. If you press enter, this is how hot you want your vehicle. So you've got all the way off in the summer when you don't want the heating, or you've got all the way to 30 degrees in the winter when it's very cold. So once you're happy, so if we say 27 degrees there, that's how hot I want the inside of the motorhome to be, I'd press enter. And that'll save that at 27 degrees. Now you've got a thermometer in some water. This is how hot you want your water. So if you don't have any water on board, you'd have it on off. 40 degrees for showering. 60 degrees for doing your dishes. But it's entirely up to yourself how hot you want your water. Or you've got boost, which will turn off your heating and prioritize your water first. But for this we'll just say 60 degrees because we want the heating to run along with the water. Next you've got what source you're heating the water and the vehicle off. So you've got gas, so make sure your gas bottle's on and it's turned on. You've got mix 1, which is 750 watts of electric and gas. You've got mix 2, which is 1850 watts of electric plus gas. So you'd use mix 2 in the winter. If you're away and it was really cold, use a mix 2 will boost the vehicle up to temperature because you're using both sources together. Then you can turn it over to electric. So you've got electric 750 watts EL1 and you've got EL2, which is 1850 watts of electric. Don't waste your gas if you're on a site unless you're away and it's really cold and you're using mix 2 for the first 10-15 minutes. Then allow electric to continue to heat the motorhome and maintain the temperature. Because if you're on a site, you've paid your site fees after all, you'll not want to waste your gas. Then you've got your fan in the top right hand corner, so eco or high or boost. This is just a 12 volt assisted fan. So eco will use less 12 volt. High obviously uses more fan speed, so it's going to use a little bit more 12 volt. And boost uses full power on the fan, which is going to use the most out of the 12 volt battery. Sleep with it on eco because it's a lot quieter than sleeping with it on anything else. If you're going to sleep with the heating on in the winter, you've got a timer so you can time the heating to come on and off just the once though. Clock in the middle and then spanner. You can go all the way down to reset, and to reset the control panel, if you ever get a warning triangle in the middle, reset, preset, click again and it will restart your control panel. And then to turn off, press and hold and it'll say off and it'll completely turn itself off. So for your cooking facilities, you do have 3 gas burners on the hob. So that'll work. All rings, there you are, 3 lit. Allow them to all cool once you've turned them off before you put the glass lid down, otherwise you can shatter the glass with it being too hot. Underneath, you've got an oven, and above the oven you do have a grill. Any parts for any of the oven, part numbers on this sticker here, if you ever need any. Cutlery drawer, storage underneath. 800 watt mains microwave, so you've got to be hooked up for this to work. This will not work off 12 volt. And the socket is up there if you ever need to isolate it. Plate and cup racks. Kitchen light switch. Two 230 volt sockets for kettle and toaster. And you've got a cable tidy here so you can put your cables down and put your toaster and your kettle on there. Double hinge door, which has your cutlery tray in. Your draining board and your chopping board is here, which go into and store up here, just underneath and there. Gas taps, and it tells you which gas tap does what, depending on what colour it is. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually serviced. However, if you ever get a problem with gas, the best way to turn the gas off is by the bottle, because you're shutting off the source of gas, which is a lot safer. However, if you know what's leaking, you can turn off each gas individual appliance by turning the tap like so. So that's open, that's shut on the blue one now, and that's now open. So to make the front double bed up, it consists of the base cushion and the backrest from this seat, the infill cushion, and then the two backrests off this side you would put it on here. But what you need to do is you need to use the table to create the bed to fill the space. So what's best is you take the base cushions up so that you can move the table into position. So the table has a bar on this side, which makes the table on a telescopic leg push down and compress. But you need to put this, which can be found in the wardrobe, which is a table extension which you use when dining and creating the bed on. On the table, you've got this bar here. This bar is the bar that locks the telescopic leg. So if you can push it up and down, which you can, lock it this way and it's fixed into position. So when you've compressed the table down, maneuver it into position. Like so, you would just lock it into place. Means you can let off, but you'd put your table extension on there before, and then you put your cushions on top. So to operate your Dometic fridge, you turn it on and off here. So just press and hold. And it'll go off. When it's turned off and you're storing it, it's best that you just pull this catch forward and allow it to vent, so it stops the door from shutting fully and allows air to circulate in and out of the fridge to avoid smells from forming if the air was to ever be trapped. So make sure you pull that out. When using it, you turn it on. It works off 3 sources, so it works off mains 230 volt if you're hooked up. It works off gas if you're wild camping, making sure that you've got a gas bottle on and it is turned on. And it works off 12 volt, which is only designed to keep the temperature that was previously set at, so it needs pre-chilling on either gas or electric first. And then when you travel and start the engine, it will send a 12 volt feed from the alternator to the fridge to keep it at the same temperature. And it will only act like a giant cool box when you're traveling until you hook back up or switch on to gas. However, on auto, which it's lit up auto, automatic function will automatically select the best source available in the motorhome, and it will always prioritize mains, and then it will switch over to gas, and then if you start the engine it will switch over to 12 volt. Once you've been traveling, however, and you're going on to gas and you're going wild camping, it waits 20 minutes before lighting on gas. This is a safety feature to avoid it from lighting on gas if you forgot to turn your gas bottle off and you pulled in for fuel, because it's the last thing you want is it to be sparking in a petrol forecourt when you're trying to fill with diesel. So it does wait 20 minutes. If this ever happened, you can manually select the source by changing here. So battery failed because the engine's not on. Gas or mains, but just leave it on auto. This is your temperature, so 5 when pre-chilling. When you've got it down to temperature, turn it down before you put your shopping in. And if it ever failed, you can press until you hear the beep. If it beeps once, that will clear the fault. However, this has got a fault because the door's open. Shut the door and that will go off. So located in the bottom of the wardrobe, if you lift the shelf out, this is where your Truma boiler is. The Truma boiler heats the vehicle and also heats the water. It holds 10 litres of water in the boiler at any one time. In the winter, it's very important that you drain your fresh waste off, you leave all your taps open and you drain out the boiler because you don't want the water to freeze in this and become a victim of frost damage where the water's frozen because of the cold temperatures, because it's not covered under your warranty. And it's a costly repair to do and a costly mistake. So what you need to do is there's little yellow toggles lying down. Flick this up like so, and all the water will drain out of the boiler directly underneath the van. And you would leave that stood up on end like this when you're not using the vehicle. When you come to reuse the vehicle, before filling, you need to push it back down in this position it's in now. Shut all the taps, shut the fresh and the waste, fill with water. Once you're filled with water, you can turn your pump on and you can open the cold side of the tap. You'll get a pressurized flow of water. When you open the hot side, the cold water tank, which is underneath the van, is pressurizing a feed of water into here. So you'll get a lot of coughing and spluttering until you get a free flow of water from the hot side of your tap. Once you've got one tap, do them all, then your system's prime. But this can take a few minutes for the water to fill up in here, and you'll get a lot of air and gurgling and coughing of water through the tap, which is normal. Don't panic until you get a pressurized flow of water, but make sure you've got water in the boiler and in the fresh water tank before you turn your pump on. In the washroom, to operate the toilet, making sure the pump's on, you'll be able to press the blue button, which gives you a fresh water flush. Always put a small amount of flush in the toilet before you use it. And then you want to open the blade before you use it, which is this grey lever here. So open it up, use the toilet, flush it, and then close the blade once you've used it. The blade must be closed to get the cassette out the outside of the van. If that's ever open, it won't come out because the mechanism is engaged and it's holding the cassette into place. A couple of green lights underneath the diagram the cassette indicates that it's full. Make sure that with the shower tray you always clean it with non-abrasive sponges and no bleach, because you'll take off the shine on all the plastic finish in the washroom. So dental spray, microfibers or fairy up liquid just to clean this out once in a while. No harsh bleaches or chemicals because you will damage the finish on it. And this just shows your water pump working and your hot water there, as that's the red hot, so we've had your hot water system on. Toilet with space underneath. Shower head when winterizing, so going back to the boiler clip, and I said leave all your taps open, leave the shower tap open and remove the shower head from the hose and lie this hose down in the shower tray just so no water sits in this U-bend here and causes any damage. Underneath your side bench seat behind the passenger seat is a location of your EC600 power supply unit. So you've got all your main trips in here, so if you trip the vehicle out, try here, or if you think you're not receiving mains, try tripping the vehicle out. The vehicle trips, you're receiving mains. If this doesn't go down, it's not the vehicle. It could be the hookup lead or where you're getting the power from. These need to be pushed in for the charger to charge the leisure battery when hooked up, and the heating and hot water to work on electric, but just leave them as they are. If you've got any problems with the heating and hot water or the charger not charging, come here first and make sure these are illuminated when hooked up. If they're pushed out, obviously they'll not work, so push it in. System shutdown button in the winter when you're storing the vehicle. This will stop power drain from any 12 volt appliances because it will totally kill the 12 volt system from the leisure battery onwards. And you do have all your blade fuses here, so they are listed here what they do. Carry some spares with you, the ampage and each fuse is labelled, so you can just when a fuse has blown, you just pick it out, look in the middle there, you can see that that fuse is fine because the little metal strip there is intact. If that was blown, you'd know the fuse needed replenished. The switch on the front here is for the 12-volt fan that assists the heat to be blown out of this part with the Aldi heaters. So there's a radiator fin behind there, there's a fan that just blows it around this area, and obviously that is your gas locker from outside.